This wasp forces a spider to build its own execution chamber. Not a trap, not a struggle. The spider builds it, willingly, perfectly, and then it waits inside for the thing that's about to kill it. No chains, no cage, just silk, spun by its own legs, shaped into the last thing it will ever create. By the end of this video, you're going to look at spiders completely differently. Because what you're about to hear isn't science fiction. It's happening right now, tonight, in rainforests most of us will never set foot in. Deep in the rainforests of South America lives a spider that shouldn't be alone. Anelosimus eximius is a social spider, one of the rare species on Earth that doesn't isolate itself. Thousands of them can share a single web, hunting together, raising young together, surviving together. Their webs stretch for meters between trees, glistening messy sheets of silk housing entire spider societies. Strength in numbers is supposed to be their armor. In a colony that size, there's always another spider nearby. Always backup. Always safety in the swarm. But one hunter doesn't care how many spiders are watching, because it doesn't need to fight them. It doesn't need to overpower the colony, or trick 1,000 spiders at once. It just needs to find one, alone, distracted, vulnerable, for just a fraction of a second. Enter the Zatypota wasp. Small, fast, and terrifyingly precise. At first glance, she looks almost harmless, barely larger than a grain of rice, easy to miss if you didn't know exactly what she was capable of. But she doesn't want to eat this spider. Not yet anyway. Eating comes later. What she wants first is something far stranger. She wants to rewrite its mind. In a single, lightning-fast strike, she lands on the spider's abdomen and injects an egg directly onto its body. No venom to paralyze it, no struggle, no web-shaking battle for survival. It's over in seconds, and the spider barely notices anything happened at all. It doesn't flinch, it doesn't flee. It simply goes back to its life, spinning silk, catching prey, moving through the colony exactly as it did yesterday. But it's already been claimed, and it has no idea. The egg hatches into a larva, and instead of dropping to the forest floor or drifting away, it attaches itself directly to the spider's abdomen. Like a tick, latching on and refusing to let go, it begins feeding, slowly, on the spider's blood, a fluid called hemolymph. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. It does not kill the spider. Not yet, because a dead host is useless to this larva. It needs its victim alive, mobile, and fully cooperative for one final job. So instead of killing quickly, it does something far more calculated. It starts injecting chemicals directly into the spider's nervous system. Scientists studying this relationship believe these compounds mimic the natural hormones spiders use to trigger molting, the biological process of shedding an old exoskeleton in order to grow a new one. It's a completely normal, everyday process for a healthy spider. Except here, that biological switch isn't being flipped by the spider's own body, on the spider's own timeline. It's being hijacked from the outside, by a parasite that understands the spider's own chemistry better than the spider does. And once that switch flips, something extraordinary and genuinely disturbing begins to happen. Infected spiders stop acting like spiders. They abandon their colony entirely, walking away from thousands of their own kind, from safety in numbers, from everything their instincts have told them to do their entire lives. They stop building their normal, loose, sloppy communal web, the kind designed for catching prey efficiently as a group. Instead, driven by chemicals they never chose and can't resist, they begin constructing something completely different. Something they've never built before. Something no healthy member of their species would ever make. A dense, tightly woven, reinforced structure, far stronger than anything in their normal architectural repertoire. Built to withstand wind, built to withstand rain, built to withstand predators that would tear apart a normal web without effort. It looks less like a spider's home, and more like a fortress, a vault, something engineered with purpose and precision. Except this fortress isn't for the spider. It was never for the spider. The spider has just spent its final hours of free will constructing the perfect, weatherproof cradle for the very creature killing it. A safe chamber for its executioner's transformation into adulthood. And once construction is finished, once every strand is exactly where it needs to be, the larva kills it. The moment the web is complete, the larva has no more use for its host. It finishes feeding, ends the spider's life, and consumes what remains of its body for one last surge of nutrients. Then, inside the very structure the spider was chemically forced to build, it spins its own cocoon, safe, elevated off the forest floor, hidden from the ants and predators that would otherwise destroy it in hours. The spider's very last act on Earth was constructing the safest possible nursery for the species that erased it. A deathbed, built by hand, its own hand. Researchers studying this behavior, published in entomology journals, believe this is one of the clearest documented cases of a parasite manipulating not just where a host goes, but what a host builds. That distinction matters more than it might seem. Because most parasites that control behavior simply redirect movement. Send the host somewhere specific, make it climb higher, make it seek out light or water. This is different. This wasp isn't just steering the spider's body, it's hijacking the spider's instincts, accessing something deep in its neural wiring that governs construction behavior, and rewriting the blueprint entirely. It's not controlling a puppet. It's temporarily turning a builder into an unwitting architect for its own demise. If species like this exist quietly in a rainforest canopy, hidden from almost every human who will ever live, imagine what else is happening right now, in the dark corners of the natural world, that we haven't even discovered yet. If you want more of these mind-bending survival stories, hit subscribe. Because next time, it might be a creature far closer to home. Now here's what most people don't know about this horrifying relationship. The details that make it even stranger, the deeper you dig. This isn't a one-off oddity confined to a single species. Multiple wasps closely related to Zatypota, in the broader Polysphincta group, use nearly identical mind manipulation strategies on entirely different spider species around the world. From orb weavers to tropical tangle web spiders. Each one engineers a slightly different death web design, custom fit to its host's natural silk building abilities. It's not one horror story. It's an entire family of them, independently evolved and eerily convergent. Some related parasitic wasps take a slower, even more calculated approach, extending their host spider's life for weeks longer than its natural chemistry would normally allow. Essentially keeping the spider alive as a slow-drip resource, feeding just enough to sustain it, only ending its life once the larva's development timeline actually demands it. Time itself becomes a tool of control. And the modified cocoon webs these spiders are forced to build aren't crude or accidental. They're often structurally superior to anything the spider ever built naturally in its healthy life. Stronger under tension, better weatherproofed, and positioned in locations that maximize protection. Some scientists suspect the wasp isn't triggering random, chaotic behavior at all, but instead activating an ancient, dormant construction blueprint that already existed somewhere deep in the spider's genetic code. A design the spider's own body never needed, until something else decided to switch it on. And that might be the most unsettling fact of all. This isn't cruelty, in any way we'd recognize the word. There's no malice here, no intent to torment. It's simply evolution optimizing ruthlessly for survival, with zero regard for who suffers along the way to make that survival possible. Somewhere in a rainforest tonight, a spider is spinning silk it doesn't understand, for a purpose it never chose, for a killer it will never even see coming. And if a parasite can silently rewrite the blueprint of a mind that isn't even its own, what makes you so sure yours is entirely your own?